We're expecting another big crowd here at Busch Stadium, over 40,000. Our first pitch just moments away. The Rockies and the Cardinals on your home of the Birds, Fox Sports Midwest. The record-setting temperatures continue throughout the country. It's 102 right now in St. Louis, but that won't stop Americans from saluting the flag today. Cardinal fans will celebrate the holiday by rooting for a holiday. Matt and the Cardinals take on the Rockies. It's next on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting, designated driver. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just snow equal. The temperature on the clock in the bullpen says 102. And on the field, it's even hotter. Early start tonight at 6:15 as Wainwright sprints from the dugout. And this is the lineup that he'll face this evening, presented by Southwest Airlines. Dexter Fowler, his first start in this series. The former Red Sox shortstop Marco Scutaro. Carlos Gonzalez is headed to the All-Star game. Then Tyler Colvin, who's been hot in this series. Todd Helton, Chris Nelson, Will Nieves, Jonathan Herrera switch hitting shortstop, and Jeremy Guthrie. Wainwright gets the call for Mike Matheny's club.
A strange outing as far as our statistics are concerned for Wainwright. In his last outing, he gave up 11 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. So he's kind of in and out. He lost against the Pirates, but he's been more good than bad, of course. And the key to him is command of the fastball. We know how good the curveball is, but command of the fastball is what matters most.
Disappointing game last night for the Cardinals in game number 2. 3-2 would be the final. And a loss for St. Louis as we flash back when Adam Wainwright pitched on the 4th of July. This is back in 2010. A complete game. He went the distance, 5 hits, and there's that curveball that you talked about.
And on the 4th of July the next year, another ace was just as good, if not better. Chris Carpenter pitching on this day, went 8 innings, gave up no runs, walked 1, struck out 3. Mark Hamilton ended up getting the game-winning hit in that game against Cincinnati. So let's hope that that trend continues.
So here we go. It's a hot evening in St. Louis, and the sun playing a big part in this ball game early on for the right fielder and second baseman. Very tough for them to see as Dexter Fowler will lead it off. The center fielder for the Rockies, very good player and a guy that's been battling injuries the last week or so, and he looks at strike 1 at 89 miles an hour from Adam Wainwright.
Fowler's shown good power out of that leadoff spot with 10 home runs. Actually, he's had rib issues of late and did not play. Could have played yesterday, but he's been a big part of their offense, and the Rockies offense has been good, much like the Cardinals.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, the breaking ball in the dirt. Fowler has been dealing with a hip issue and a shoulder issue as well. That's why he's come in late in games with his speed to take over in center. He's the ideal guy that they would like to see run with that position. Center field, the spacious center field of Coors in Denver. Swing and a miss, and that's how we start the game. A strikeout for Adam Wainwright.
The fastballs set up this pitch. The Adam Wainwright curveball, backdoor, 12-6 action, meaning going straight down and no chance for Fowler.
This is the highest temperature for a home game since 1988. And back in '88, they were playing on the turf. So you're talking about temperatures that were 140 to 150 back in the old turf of Busch Stadium, something that you dealt with as Scutaro pops one foul.
Mike Aldretti was talking about that yesterday coming in as a visitor. He remembers that you could actually feel the heat coming up through your metal spikes into your shoe, and in both dugouts you would have buckets of water where you would actually put your shoes in just to kind of cool off a bit. It seems odd to do that, but you had to.
I've had players tell me that they would have the plastic spikes that would melt, and so they had to use the metal spikes that would not melt on the turf. But the pitcher sometimes, along with the catcher, as crazy as it sounds, they were the coolest of the bunch because they were on dirt instead of turf. Fly ball into center field as John Jay puts it away. Good start for Adam Wainwright. 2 down. Let's meet the defense of the St. Louis Cardinals. Holiday, Jay, and Beltran in the outfield. Left side of the infield, Freeze and Furcal. Schumacher and Craig on the right side, and the Gold Glover Yadier Molina is behind the plate. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. See the hats and the logo of the uniforms of the Cardinals with the stars and the blue, white, and the red. Sliding is Holiday, and a nice play, and he holds Gonzalez to just a single. You can join Major League Baseball in helping those veterans who have done so much to help us, and you can get those caps right now that are being worn. Log on to mlbcommunity.org or welcomebackveterans.org for more information on how you can make a difference. All the proceeds go to that wonderful organization. Cardinals need to find a way how to get Colvin out. 3-run homer yesterday, and that was the difference in the game. Cardinals would lose it 3-2. He also homered in game 1. First pitch is a strike at the knees. Hitting streak for Gonzalez, who's the runner at first base, is now at 12 games.
We've seen Colvin bat in the 5th spot, the leadoff spot, now the cleanup spot for Jim Tracy.
Isn't that odd that you've got the hottest bat in this lineup providing some power, that you would put him in the leadoff spot, but yet that's where we saw Colvin last night, and he did not hit in that spot with the Chicago Cubs. He came over in a trade from the Windy City.
He really didn't hit in any spot with the Chicago Cubs last year. Hit 150 and struggled throughout, has made an adjustment and has developed into another shot at being a potentially all-star outfielder.
There's a base hit into right, over to get it, Beltran, and Gonzalez will stop at third base. It's a double for Colvin. Back-to-back hits here in the first after Wainwright got the first 2. No fair trade backs, and we're talking about Colvin and Stewart. Stewart's out with a wrist injury for the Chicago Cubs. And how about Jeremy Guthrie, who gets the start tonight for the Rockies? He's 3-7, and they gave up Jason Hamill as well as Lidstrom, who's a hard-throwing right-hander, to get Guthrie, and Guthrie very well could be on the way out. The trade deadline less than a month away.
Hamill's having a very good year with Baltimore, and you know, from a player's point of view, there are times where you cringe, where you pick up the paper and you realize that the guy you were traded for had another good outing, because that just puts more pressure on you.
Last night we noticed that the Cardinals were very aggressive against Todd Helton with fastballs. He's got very good numbers against number 50 of the Cardinals. That first pitch was a fastball.
Very late on a lot of pitches in game 2 of this series.
In his defense, he's dealing with a sore wrist, shoulder, and he also has a hip issue. And basically for about the last 5 seasons, he's had a sore back anytime he puts on a uniform. Back issues throughout his career, but they've really been an issue the last 5 years. Another fastball, and it's 1-2.
It's the reality of anybody that reaches that age. We all know that you end up having 2 or 3 things wrong pretty much all the time, and to be able to compete at this level, it just makes it a lot tougher. And that's why you get to the age, Todd Helton, you get 35 and older in this game, and it's tough to keep up.
39, Todd Helton. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Got him. Strikeout for Wainwright. Helton strands too as he throws the bat. The high heat of Adam Wainwright. 2 Ks here in the first inning. Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Rafael Furcal, the switch hitting all-star, will lead it off. Then John Jay and Matt Holliday, who has just been red hot. Beltran, Craig, and Molina. Freeze, Schumacher, and Wainwright. Cardinals face the righty Guthrie for Colorado.
They were not sure he was going to go back into the rotation, but they made the move of sending Outman back out again, so he's now part of the 4-man rotation. He does not have a pitch limit tonight. They've been going on 75 pitches, and we've been told that that is a soft 75, not a hard number. But Guthrie is going to go as long as he can here this afternoon and into the evening.
Generations of Cardinal fans coming through the turnstiles and enjoying Cardinal baseball. You think about that more often, I think, on days like today, the holiday, than you might on just a normal Wednesday night. Here's Rafael Fricall, and he looks at a strike. Big Cardinal fans, Luke, Avery, Barrett, Olivia, watching the ball game tonight. Want to make sure and say hi. One of their favorite players is at the plate, Rafael Fricall. It says here in my note that Luke and Avery are switch hitters, trying to emulate Fricall. It's from both sides of the plate, reaching for it, little flare into center, and the catch is made. Brings in John Jay, and let's meet the Rockies defensively with Gonzalez, Fowler, Colvin in the outfield. Nelson, Herrera on the left side, Scudero and Helton on the right side, and Will Nieves is behind the plate. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs.
Jim Tracy in his 11th season as a manager at the big league level really did a nice job with the Dodgers and had a tough team to have to deal with the Pirates, that's for sure, and I feel for him. He is as positive a guy as you can be, and he is trying to do everything he can to overcome what essentially has been just terrible pitching.
Talked a lot about what they're doing with Colorado, the experiment of a 4-man rotation. Essentially, it'll turn into an 11-man rotation by the end of the season. And in doing so, it's pitch counts with their starters. The idea is the first man through tonight, Guthrie, would give you 75 pitches. Now, we saw that in games 1 and 2, but with Guthrie, they're not going to do that tonight, are they? So they'll let him extend it if he's pitching well. Comes from the American League East. Last couple of seasons he was with the Baltimore Orioles. One year he had 19 losses to lead the American League in that department. That's one you don't want to have your name attached to.
And he gives up a lot of home runs.
Certainly does. It's 17 losses one year, and he surrendered 36 home runs the last 3 seasons. Short porch and right Camden Yards, and then he moves into a spot that is famous for their home runs, and that's Coors Field. That's taken low, 3-2.
They said he's really struggled with his breaking ball. He gets kind of sloppy, gets underneath it, and it just kind of floats up there. He hasn't really had that sharp downward action. Again, it's a tough pitch to throw, and when you're not right, your mechanics aren't right, you're not feeling strong, often that's the first pitch to go.
Just foul. Three and 2. On deck, it's Holiday. He's making a case right now if anybody would get hurt, join the All-Star team. Three-two pitch. When facing a pitcher for the first time, the Cardinals see what they've done, runs per game, and the record 4-4. Right now, I don't care who's on the mound. Matt Holliday is getting his rips.
He sure is. He's hitting for power. He's hitting for average. He's using the entire field.
Holliday with 2 home runs already in this series. If you go back to June 16th, a span of over 60 at bats, he's hitting above 500.
And as these numbers get better and better approaching the All-Star game, it's going to be very difficult to look back and say Now, why wasn't he on the All-Star team again?
No question about it.
I mean, you mentioned it, but the numbers just keep getting better and better. And you look at all the other selections and even the group of 5 that we're choosing from, which is now 4, their numbers aren't as good as Matt Holliday's.
You may know the answer to this, or somebody will let you know, as David Freese still has a chance, and that's fair. Inside the third baseline, off the sidewall. Jay digging for third. They'll wave him in. Here comes a throw. 1-0 St. Louis. The RBI number 54 for Matt Holliday.
Adds to his numbers, and the Cardinals get a break here as it ball just inside the bag, then hits off the wall, so the wrong angle for Gonzalez in left. John Jay smelling that possibility, running hard the whole way. And Jose Oquendo, good to have him back, waving him home.
Now Beltran, and my question is this: does Tony La Russa, if somebody would get hurt, does he have to take a player from the 5 that are left over? Now we've seen, Chipper Jones was taken to replace Matt Kemp. You have 4 left. Is that what he has to use?
I'm pretty sure the rule is he has to call Dusty Baker first and ask him.
Ouch.
Isn't that how you read it?
Or Johnny Cueto's agent. An abundance of third baseman, the possibility for the National League. The trainers, Greg Hawk and Chris Conroy, wearing the patriotic theme, the American flag. And David Freese, you can vote until tomorrow. Cardinals.com. Get him in. 3-0. You know he's got the green light. What a year Beltran has had so far. Swinging away. High drive. Deep right center field. It's at the track and caught by Fowler. Holliday tagging up from second. Standing up at third. Beltran gave it a ride. Boy, he just missed it.
Count in your favor. Looking for a ball that you can handle, and he found one to his liking, just got under it a bit. The Cardinals, with all their all-star selections, really an indication of kind of the irony of this team, that the Cardinals are just 3 games over 500. But all of the players that are going to this all-star game, when you look at their numbers, they deserve to be there, and as does Matt Holliday. So the point is, you've got all of this star power, but yet you're only 3 games over 500, so that gives you some pause, doesn't it?
It does, and it makes you think, okay, what's gone wrong? How would you then evaluate it?
Well, the bullpen's gone wrong, and I think there's some signs that it's going in the right direction. We saw some good outings yesterday, and maybe they fixed the issues from the left side, and really like what we saw out of Fernando Salas here yesterday.
Guthrie now working from the windup with a runner at third and 2 outs. 1 ball, 1 strike on Alan Craig. As crazy as it sounds, you can make a case for Alan Craig too.
I was just thinking that, but I wasn't going to say it. Glad you did.
Probably not enough games.
No.
But the numbers have been incredible. This guy has produced at arguably the best clip of any of the Cardinals in the lineup.
There'll be a number of all-stars that don't have as many RBIs as him, even with the injuries.
Just saw what he's done the last 10 games. At a 2-homer night. Game 1 of this series. And he hits it in the air to center. Matt Holliday with RBI number 54. 1-run lead after 1. Strike 1 underway here in the top of the second. Nelson, Nieves, and Herrera. Ground ball hit to short for Kyle with it. Settles and throws.
Another example of the fastball setting up the off-speed pitch for Wainwright. First pitch strike on a fastball, still the best pitch in the game.
How concerned do you think Derek Lilliquist is right now with the innings of two of his starters? One is on the mound tonight in Adam Wainwright, the other being Lance Lynn, who'll start tomorrow. Lynn has never pitched this deep into a season because of minor league baseball, and as far as watching his innings, and then last year in a relief role, is that slicing down the right field line and a fair ball. This will be extra bases for Will Nieves and a stand-up double. That's something that comes to mind with Lance Lynn, and with Wainwright, it's coming off of surgery.
Well, I think coming off surgery, I'd be a little bit more concerned and watchful, I guess is maybe a better word. We look at that location, a little bit too much middle, actually middle in, inside out swing. And I'd be a little more concerned about the injury issue than Lance Lynn. Frankly, I think the injury issue and the concern about innings for starting pitchers should be less than it is, and I think you should worry about it more for relievers than we do starters. I think being a reliever is harder on your arm than being a starter, because you are throwing every day, much more often, and you're getting hot every day. A starter really gets hot once a week. Throws a bullpen, half speed. It's not as taxing, in my mind, on your arm as being a reliever is.
Davey Johnson has come out and said that they will skip Steven Strasburg a start before the All-Star break, trying to curtail his innings, and they came out and said for his long-term health, and they have such a healthy investment in him, the idea is 150 innings. The problem is their team's winning, and a big reason why is because of him. You go into postseason play, you certainly want Steven Strasburg healthy and starting.
Or you're 3 games up or 3 games out in August. What do you do?
Yeah. Don't forget about Toyota Cardinals Live, and it's the Wayback Machine. Wayback Week continues tomorrow at 6:30, and it's a look at the 2004 championship team of the National League. Cards and Rockies at 7. Pregame show at 6:30. Those have been a lot of fun. Brad Straubinger, our producer for the pregame show, has gone back in the vault, found a number of interviews and some of the names and faces you may have forgotten about along the way.
Where is that vault anyway?
It's about, I'd say, 50 yards below Fox Sports Midwest, and it's.
Do you have the key?
No, they don't trust me with anything.
No, but Brad does. Brad's got it.
Be in there all night looking at video after video of some of the great players. And we're lucky that all the games are on television now, but even back then there were some games that were not televised.
Absolutely.
So it is fun to see some of the old video. That 2004 team, not many nights they lost. I believe, in looking at the teams that Tony did not win with in the early 2000s and the 04 team, much better than the 06 team.
No question.
And last year, everything went right in 2011. But some of those other teams, it's hard to believe they did not win. That's a broken bat. Two balls and 2 strikes on the pitcher Guthrie as he has to get a new piece of lumber.
We hope folks are enjoying their July 4th celebration wherever it is. Folks here at the ballpark very happy this afternoon. It is a hot one, but very nice crowd, and folks think of Independence Day. We think, of course, of our troops. We think of our great history of our country, and think about family celebrations, picnics, snow cones, fireworks, parades, and to me, all kinds of good thoughts.
Two and 2 the count. Wainwright looking for strikeout number 4. Just got a piece. Game 1, it was pleasant, 84 degrees game time temperature. Last night was very, very hot, and with an earlier start today, hottest start for a Cardinal game since 1988 here at home. Got him. Strikeout. Number 4, and back-to-back for Wainwright to end the top of the second.
Our Toyota keys to the game. Jeremy Guthrie, the starting pitcher for the Rockies, has had a rough go of it as a starter. Record of 3-6, ERA over 7, and the opponents have hit .339 against Guthrie, and he's had a couple of issues that he's dealt with this year. One is pitching in Colorado, which a lot of pitchers have trouble adjusting to the altitude, and maybe the ball doesn't spin quite the same way out of your hand. But the other thing with Guthrie is he had an injury early in the season, which led to some of his problems physically as well.
Well, we are so thankful for our military and what they do for us day in and day out. We want to make sure and hear from our military this evening.
Hello, my name is Chief Master Sergeant Cottrell from Louisiana, Missouri. I just want to take this opportunity to wish my friends and family happy 4th of July from Bagram, Afghanistan. Go Cardinals.
Thank you, Sergeant. And we had our This One's For You telecast earlier in the season, something we look forward to.
You bet we do. Very nice.
Here's Yadier Molina. It's Molina, Freese, and Schumacher. Yadi with a base hit out to left.
Pitch off the plate a bit. Molina just dropped the head. The injury to Guthrie happened as he was riding his bike to the ballpark, something that he has made a habit of doing, and his chain broke and he went over the front of his bike and fell into a little ditch and actually had a shoulder strain and was really badly shaken up by that, and it has affected him since then. So you look at his numbers and you can say, okay, he has not succeeded as was expected, but the adjustment to pitching in Colorado plus the bicycle accident, which again is a strange thing. I don't know how many players ride a bike to work, but that's his deal.
30-48 the last 3 seasons pitching in the American League East, and many baseball people feel that he was miscast as the #1 with Baltimore, and that's what they called him, their #1 pitcher. But yet he gets out of that tough division of Boston and New York and Tampa. And a lot of scouts are here at the ballpark tonight taking a very hard look at Guthrie. And I would assume that's one of the reasons why they're going to let him pitch deeper in the ball game tonight too.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's taken a little bit low by David Freese. Again, you can vote for David at Cardinals.com. Less than 24 hours away, we'll know if David is headed to the All-Star game. Here's a 2-2 pitch. On the outside corner, strikeout of Freese.
Location away. Hits the mitt perfectly. David couldn't pull the trigger.
Schumacher hitting in the 8th spot tonight. Started second base. Now with Jay back, Descalso and Green. This is more of the role that Mike Matheny envisioned for Skip Schumacher. The super utility role. Maybe not being that everyday player. But under Tony, he'd wind up with 400 at bats, and that may wind up being the case here with Mike Matheny too.
It may be. I don't know that Mike Matheny came out of spring training thinking that he's going to have much time at second base for Skip Schumacher. Right? He didn't work at that position quite as much, and I thought he did an admirable job coming in and playing second base as a normal outfielder. That's not an easy transition, but you know, he's clearly, outfield is his best position. Very strong arm, and with Tyler Green and Daniel Descalso battling for second, you thought, well, there's no room for Skip. He always finds a way in, though, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Big group from Footwear Unlimited. Mike Mooney, Rita Mooney, Father Bob Gettinger, all here tonight watching Cardinals baseball. Father Bob, he says Skip's his favorite player.
And we also have some great fans who live at the Villa at Riverwoods who faithfully watch every one of our telecasts. And I know they're big Cardinal fans at the Villa at Riverwoods. We're glad that you're tuned in, as you always are, and a happy 4th to you.
3-0 pitch. Father Bob has touched the lives of many, many St. Louisans and folks across the country, working in the inner city, providing education for many kids that would not have that chance. Let's hope he sits back and enjoys it tonight. 3-1 pitch. And that's a base hit into right. Molina thought about going to second base. He stopped, hesitated just a bit. If he kept going, he would have had a steal. He did that last night and walked to second.
And it would have been a career high of steals for Yadier Molina. And there he goes. That's what he normally does. And he just stopped for some reason. And the ball goes right in front of him. Base hit to right field. And I still am just confused as to why there's not somebody yelling to step off. And at that point, it was a little too late for the pitcher. And I think Yadi probably felt like the jump wasn't maybe early enough for him to be safe. And that's the amazing thing about when he does that. He's successful. I mean, if he gets thrown out doing that, we'll say, oh, that didn't look right. But if you're 8 for 9 in stolen bases, that's a pretty good percentage.
The other thing that amazes me too, Rick, and now the Cardinals can have a little fun here with Adam Wainwright, who can handle the bat 2 runners on, but with the scouting reports and all the information. Oh, that's up and in to Wainwright. He's on his back. But with all the information that you have, you've got to know you cannot fall asleep with Molina on the bases. You just can't.
Pitch up and in on Wainwright. Rockies actually checked to see if he actually offered at that pitch. That would have added insult to injury. Jose Oquendo staring down the pitcher, Guthrie.
One ball, one strike. Wainwright showing bunt, pulls back, the corner's charging in. 1-1 pitch inside. From a pitcher's perspective, we saw benches clear with Cincinnati and San Francisco the other day. Bronson Arroyo was on the mound and his counterpart at the plate. From a pitcher's perspective, going up and in, I'm sure that's the last thing that Guthrie's trying to do.
Well, absolutely. And in the particular case of Arroyo going up and in, I saw the replay of that, and that pitch was almost over the heart of the plate. So I thought that was a mistake by the Giants.
Guthrie to third. They get the lead man. No hesitation there. And we're at the top of the lineup.
The goal here is to try to bunt the ball to the third baseman, and Wainwright unfortunately hit that one right back up the middle. It's at the top of the strike zone. He gets it down, no problem there. Unfortunately, the angle is not enough towards third base for it to be a successful sacrifice.
Furcal lined out to center field, first time up. Cardinals have a lead of 1-0. RBI by Holiday as Rafi looks at a strike. Dan O'Dowd, the GM of the Rockies, and a guy that you know quite well.
I do. Used to work for Dan, and no nonsense guy, and he's trying something with the pitching staff here, and I understand that he's been given a big vote of confidence by his owner, as he certainly has deserved.
Tough play here, and everybody's safe. No chance for the Gold Glover, Todd Helton. Base hit for Kyle, his second infield hit in as many nights, and the bases are loaded for John Jay. Inning started with a base hit by Molina. He was erased on the play at third, so you have Schumacher, Wainwright, and Kyle all aboard.
That's that area just to the left of the pitcher that is just the hardest play. The first baseman has to wait to see if the pitcher can get it, number one, and if he can't, then he goes to the bag. And even if Helton was able to barehand that ball, how's he going to flip that ball to the pitcher going in a different direction? It's not going to work anyway. So that area very, very difficult to defend.
Interesting how they're playing this defensively with 2 outs. They've got the third baseman even and in. And the scouting report will tell you that John Jay is very good at laying down a bunt, but also very good at hitting it to left field. That's a big hitting lane there.
No doubt. Got some room between the shortstop and the third baseman.
And quickly, it's 2 strikes on John Jay.
You would think with the third baseman in and having diminished range, you'd have to play your shortstop more in the hole.
Now with 2 strikes, he can back up. Bases loaded. Here it comes to Jay. And he hits him. It's an RBI for John Jay. And look who's coming up.
That pitch may prove to be the undoing of Jeremy Guthrie. He is ahead of John Jay, and then he hits him in the hip. And now he has to face this guy.
Holiday, first time up, doubled down the third base line. Bases are loaded. He right now is the hottest hitter in all of Major League Baseball. His time is called. Two 2-0 lead here in the home half of the second. First pitch to Holiday. Outside, ball 1. Beltran on deck. One 0 on its way. 1 ball, 1 strike.
No problems with velocity for Guthrie, that's for sure. 93, 94. Appears to have some life and movement on his fastball too, so a little hard to understand why his numbers are so poor. Again, you point to the breaking ball being a little sloppy this year.
Big gap in left center for Holiday. He wouldn't hang one to him, would he? With the fastball again. Colorado Rockies 108 as far as home runs allowed, most in the big leagues, and Guthrie, he's given up his fair share.
17 on the season. 2.1 per 9 innings. That's a ton.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Holiday reaching for it. Very good pitch, and a fly ball into right. This should do it. Catch is made. Holiday strands the bases loaded, but John Jay hit by a pitch. It drives in a run. A 2-0 lead for St. Louis. Top of the third. Temperatures in triple digits. Jim Hayes, how you holding up?
I'm holding up, and Mike Matheny says he's holding up pretty well. He was talking before the game. It's the midway point, and he was asked how he's holding up in his first year being manager of the Cardinals, and he said there are times he feels mentally drained. He says the mental wear and tear for him is much more intense as a manager than it was for him as a player. He says he loves the challenge of trying to stay on top of things in a game situation,
but he admits he still has a tough time letting go of losses. And guys, he's open to suggestions on how to do that.
Yeah, remember, Rick, that he said before the season that, oh, I won't have that problem. I was able to do it as a player. And then the other day he said, I can't let these things go as the manager.
Yeah, but again, I would say I know he couldn't do that as a player. He was as worried as a player and as intense as anybody had ever been around. And I don't say that as an insult, but he wore it on his sleeve, and every mistake that the pitcher made, he felt responsible for. I mean, you could just tattoo responsibility right on his forehead, because that's how he is as a father, as a leader, as a manager. And you know, he just can't let things go. And there were times where people would talk to him often as a player and say, you need to relax. And he said, I can't. I'll never be able to relax till I'm done playing.
I remember doing a feature on Buzz Bissinger and Tony La Russa, and I asked Tony about his book, 3 Nights in August, and I said, what's the one aspect of that book that really stands out for you? And he said, and it's written in the book, but he said the part of which he talked about seeing Mike Matheny walk away with his wife hand in hand following a game. And he said, seeing that made me, Tony saying this, made me realize that maybe I've missed out on my family too. You know, and some of the things that I've done along the way in my playing career, coaching, managing. You know, and Tony, it was basically 12 months out of the year talking baseball somewhere, and a lot of times not at home.
And let's give him a bit of a break here. Anytime you're in any job, you have to go through one cycle of whatever that job is before you get comfortable. Good cutter from Wainwright. And Tony La Russa had done it for years and years and years. I think Mike Matheny will learn some things from this year that he won't repeat in years 2, 3, and following.
Brings in Scudero, strikeout number 5 for Adam Wainwright. Well, this season on Fox Sports, we're proud to support Boys and Girls Club of America. And you can learn more. Visit their website, greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Showing bunt, looking at a ball, is Marco Scudero. Mets, A's, Blue Jays, Red Sox, 10 major league seasons. Brought in as a backup to Troy Tulowitzki and also as an everyday second baseman, and forced into that shortstop position because of the injury to Tulowitzki. 9 games below 500 with him not in the lineup. The 1-1 pitch paints the corner, 1-2.
How about that fastball? That had some life to it, location, velocity, pretty much everything. And that sets up Wainwright to be able to finish him off with the breaking ball. Maybe he'll go back inside. And the breaking ball's coming. Watch out. Fish weren't biting. Now do you double up, go back outside, or go with the cutter?
The 2-2 pitch. On a hop to second. Schumacher is there. 2 outs. Brings in Carlos Gonzalez. You know, you and I have been talking about the All-Star game, and at times we've been confused about selections and how it all works. It cost Carlos Gonzalez. This will be his first All-Star team, which may surprise some folks because 2 years ago he had just a remarkable season. Should have gone in 2010, but Charlie Manuel, who was the manager, thought he had to take a utility man, so he took Omar Infante over Carlos Gonzalez. And Gonzalez had Triple Crown numbers that season and doesn't make it. He's dropped 17 pounds since the start of the season. And they've talked about his range in the outfield. We've seen his arm. It's an absolute cannon. Dropping that weight has helped him get around the outfield a little better, and also running the bases. The 1-1 pitch got him to reach. 1-2.
I think the last few years the fan voting has been for the most part good. I think there's some issues this year with some of the players, especially some of the players in San Francisco that got voted in that, you know, I think baseball is going to have to take a look at that again and see if they can't put some controls on it to make sure the right people go.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. All right, Ricky, right there. That backs him off the plate. Little cutter inside, 2-2. Now, what do you come back with?
I would throw him a curveball if I had Adam Wainwright's curveball. I'd be tempted to throw that every pitch, frankly. But he's going to go with the fastball in, shook it off, slider, cutter, down and in, repeat.
The game within the game, especially with a guy like Wainwright, who's now mixing in that changeup a little bit more. He's got the cutter and a very good breaking ball, and the fastball's getting better.
And at this point, when he gets on the mound, he should know what he wants to throw. And Yadi's going to put down a suggestion. And if he doesn't like that suggestion, shake it off. Cutter backdoor.
Wainwright, he slipped and
stumbled there at the end. On
Molina made sure he's all right.
Yeah. I think there's times where you shake off your catcher and your catcher doesn't really mind that, because he's just offering one of two possible ways to go. Change up. No. Fastball away. No. Fastball in. No. No. Well, let's go through them all. End up with a curveball.
Got him. Strikeout.
Worth the wait.
That's 6 strikeouts for Adam Wainwright. Cardinals baseball from downtown St. Louis is brought to you by the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And right now at Jack in the Box, you can try the new Chipotle Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. Air show in the arch grounds of downtown St. Louis. Fireworks later tonight. And the Cardinals have a 2-run lead as we move to the home half of the third. There's a rope but foul off the bat of Beltran. Checking his bat to make sure it's not chipped, broken. Carlos fly to deep right center, first time up. Off the end of the bat, little squibber left side, taken there by Nelson, the third baseman. Beltran retired.
Second half of the season beginning here tonight, July 4th, game number 82 of the season. A little known fact about the minor league system is that you actually play halves and you start over again. So a team that gets off to a good start, then maybe loses some of their players, may find themselves winning a first half and losing the second half, and then that adds to the playoff structure of the minor leagues.
The idea being that in the second half too, a lot of times organizations put a premium on winning in the minor leagues,
right?
And if their major league team is out of it, they will keep some of those minor leaguers down so they can get a taste of winning.
Gives them a chance to start over again. I think it's good for the minor league guys to develop, to kind of get that restart after the draft, especially. You've got some new players that have moved up and down, and some guys that maybe have been advanced because they've had good numbers at lower levels, and a chance to maybe regroup with your team. And I like that philosophy. And it happened at the big league level the one year where the Cardinals kind of got the short end of the stick with the Dodgers. I believe that was 81, if I'm not mistaken, where Cardinals actually had a better record than the Dodgers, but they, because of the strike, they ended up going into halves, and it did not work in the Cardinals' favor. I think Tommy Lasorda had something to do with that one.
Oh, I would bet. 3-1 the count here on Alan Craig. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Ground ball hit to the left side again. Nelson is there. 2 outs. Wishing you a happy 4th of July as we come your way from the gateway city of St. Louis, wherever you may be, enjoying Cardinals baseball. Dan McLaughlin, Rick Horton. You'll see Al and Pat on the post-game show. We've got the Cab with us. Matt Holliday, an RBI double, first inning. And it was a hit by pitch of John Jay with the bases loaded in the second inning, and it's a 2-run lead as Yadi steps in. Shelby Miller, a really good example of individually what you're looking at with some of these minor leaguers, able to blow those guys away low levels with a fastball. Now at the AAA level, those are former major leaguers, many of them competing, trying to get back, and 95-mile-an-hour fastball doesn't faze them one bit.
Yeah, it gets tougher and tougher. You've got to learn how to adjust to the new level and do the little things that give you the edge back again.
And what we're talking about is developing your secondary pitches, and that has been at times, not to say he's been hard-headed about it, but trying to convince him, do it, use those, because as you advance, you're going to need them.
Best way to be convinced is to back up third base for about an hour every 5th day.
Yeah, and it's happening right now for Shelby. 1-2-3 inning for Guthrie. And remember, the voting is not over, as you have a chance to vote for David Freese into the All-Star game. All-Star game in Kansas City. Voting will end tomorrow at 3. Cardinals.com. Season numbers for David Freese. And if you go back to last year and looking at the midway point of what he's been able to do, his numbers are astonishing. 106 RBIs, NLCS World Series MVP. All the postseason marks that he was able to attach his name to, all the positive marks. But since that time, All-Star game of last year to now, 106 RBIs, and that's fewer than a full season. He's at game number 152 if you go back to last All-Star break to now.
One of the things you like about this year, if you just look at that by itself, is the fact that he's actually been in 75 games. He's been healthy enough. He's stayed in there. That's been an issue for him in the past. But not only playing 75 games, but a lot of innings too. He's not leaving in the 5th. He's not leaving in the 6th. And his defense has really improved. Not that it was below par, but I think he's become a very, very good third baseman. Only 4 errors in the first half.
And 7 strikeouts for Adam Wainwright through 3 1/3. Brings in Todd Helton. Helton had runners at 2nd and 3rd and struck out on a fastball back in the 1st. We've talked about it. He's had issues catching up with that, dealing with a number of ailments, and maybe age catching up with him.
That just seems very slow, and there's another indication of it on that pitch. That pitch is just by him.
How tough do you think it's been and will be for Jim Tracy this year and next year? He signed through next season to find the playing time for an aging veteran, and not just a guy that is getting older and you're trying to figure out a few at bats here and there. This is arguably the greatest player that has ever worn that uniform.
Right.
So you're trying to make sure if he's going out, you're doing it gracefully and finding the right spots to have him have success. Does he want to be an everyday player?
Yeah.
All those things.
Communication becomes a key right there. You have to be honest. You have to have some heart-to-hearts. You have to be kind of aware every time you have that conversation about the history that he has had and what he means not only to his teammates but also to the fans of Colorado, because they're going to go through the angst of his eventual retirement as well.
That's hit out of play. 0-2. Talked about it last night. The Todd Helton misconception is that he was the backup to Peyton Manning. Those two were together, and actually Helton, who was a year or two ahead of Manning, was ahead of him on the depth chart. Then he got hurt, and the rest is history. Old Peyton was pretty good.
Decent.
Not bad. And now both are reunited in the city of Denver. Didn't think I'd say that either. Just certain guys shouldn't leave a franchise. Peyton Manning should never leave the Colts. But that's the day and age in sports now. Helton, a ground ball right side. Schumacher is there. 2 away. But you have to be wanted.
You have to be.
And it's got to fit.
Peyton Manning was having a conversation with Todd Helton last year that Colts were here in town and he was hurt, but he was here on the trip, and he spent the day actually with the Rockies in their clubhouse talking with all the players. And
is that right?
They were thrilled to see him. Oh yeah, and that was pretty meaningful. The players were all trying to get ready to play, but they all wanted to go back in the lunchroom and talk to and meet Peyton Manning.
There's 2 outs and Nelson. Al and I would talk about a lot how the football St. Louis Cardinals would interact with the Cardinals back in the 70s, and then you had the teams that didn't interact as much in the 80s, and eventually football left St. Louis until the Rams got here. Are there guys that would come to the clubhouse that got your attention, whether it be from the Blues or football, whatever the case may be?
No doubt. No doubt. It was fun to have. I always liked it when Stan Musial came by, frankly. Same sport, but different level.
Oh, yeah. Jamie Wright. Remember him?
I do.
Tall right-hander. First night in St. Louis, Bob Gibson, Stan the Man, Lou Brock were all in the clubhouse. Just one of those nights. And he asked us, is it always like this? And he had understood about the history of the Cardinals. Wasn't just a modern day player that didn't understand what it meant to wear this uniform, but those 3 great players were in the clubhouse conversing with the current players. He said, this is unbelievable.
Lou Brock at the ballpark tonight.
Lou Brock, 3,000 plus hits, and now he can add to his resume
the cat fight.
The cat fight. The decal set presented by AT&T is coming up when the Cubs are in town. Friday, July 20th will be the first game back at home after the All-Star break. So make sure you're a part of it. The Cubs and the Cardinals, and there's still tickets available for all 3 games of that weekend against Chicago. That may surprise some folks. Cubs and Cardinals, tickets still available. What? Well, that weekend beginning on Friday, July 20th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Cardinals.com for your seats.
I think we have conditioned our fans over the years to say Cubs tickets are sold out day one. I can't even bother, no sense trying, but I think people will be surprised to learn how many good seats are available for the rest of those games with the Cubbies and the rest of the season, and love to see out here at the ballpark.
A 2-run lead for the Cardinals, and here's David Freese. Fly ball into right, and there's 1 away. Freese is 0 for 2. It brings in Schumacher, who singled back in the 2nd inning, left stranded, and then we'll see Adam Wainwright. And with all the fans that have come out, I think one of the really disappointing aspects of the team this year has been their play at home. Just 19 and 19. The players will tell you it's a rush to be here in town and see the 40,000 plus night after night. And usually players feed off of that, but for whatever reason, the Cardinals have struggled at home.
And too many good performances individually that just have not added up to enough Cardinal wins this year. I think that's really the story of the first half, is a team that hasn't won a lot of close games. I think the bullpen may be part of that. Of course, they're trying to work on fixing that and making it better, but starting pitching's been good. The offense has been more than good.
Outfield is very shallow for Schumacher. Here comes a 1-1 pitch. Inside, backed him off the plate, 2-1. So many times that is a purpose pitch to go inside and keep that hitter honest. Now they go outside, you get him to reach, you get the ground ball, but that was too much of the plate.
You're exactly right. He had set up to go away to Schumacher, but he didn't get it where he wanted to. And that fastball off the plate, perhaps it did have a purpose, but the purpose was not fulfilled.
You look up, you see Adam Wainwright is hitting .061. That can't be right.
Bit of a mystery, isn't it?
Very good hitter. Very good athlete.
I still wonder whether it has something to do with the limitations of him coming back from his injury and not really being able to air out his swing the same way. Power numbers down a bit, but he gets the bunt done very, very well.
Sack 3-4 on the play, and it brings in Furcal. Furcal has an infield hit back in the second inning. He's also flied out to center. Lance Lynn will be part of the All-Star game, and he gets that start tomorrow night. 10-4, Lance Lynn. Who would have thought that before the season began? Lance was saying before the game he's got a number of his family and friends making that trek to Kansas City. Once in a lifetime experience, he was telling me, and he said, I'm looking forward to meeting some of the great players that I watched as a kid growing up, namely Derek Jeter, as Furcal flies to center. Pretty cool stuff. Schumacher's left stranded. He's 2 for 2 on the night. And that sends us to the 5th. We'll have an update on Jaime Garcia with Jim Hayes when we come back. Jim Hayes telling us yesterday that Kyle McClellan threw on the side and progress is being made. Jim, what about Jaime Garcia?
Well, Dan, he threw/played catch for the first time since the shoulder problem shut him down in June. Garcia thrown about 40 times from a distance of about 60 feet and said he felt really good. Garcia has been rehabbing with a program designed to strengthen that shoulder and restore range of motion. He says it really made a difference, and he says he feels like he could be back early mid-August, though Mike Matheny says let's not put a timetable on it just yet.
Here's Will Nieves, and Jim, I guess the question for so many fans now is that you have an answer with Chris Carpenter. You don't know about Jaime Garcia, as you mentioned, in his timetable, so the question becomes, what does John Mozeliak do? Where is he looking as far as trying to strengthen this team?
Pitching. Dan, he said, yeah, we'd love to have a starter, and that's something we'll look at. But obviously they could use some help for the bullpen, so he's going to see what's out there and what's the best fit for the Cardinals.
And Rick, as you said, a positive last night, Salas. Browning has looked tremendous, 3 scoreless innings since making his major league debut, and maybe that settles things a little bit.
Yeah, if you talk about getting a starter, you really have 5 guys that, you know, are doing okay. I mean, it really isn't a big problem in that rotation. Joe Kelly maybe offers a little flexibility down the road, both eventually being a guy that you could count on in the bullpen if you want to, although I like what he's done in the rotation myself.
John Mozeliak, general manager of the Cardinals. John Vooch there in the red shirt. Enjoying text messages.
And as we all know, you've got to give up something to get something. And so that's the hard part of this. And the Cardinals have a lot of offense and maybe some depth at certain positions to be able to deal from. And that becomes maybe part of the solution. But you want to be sure that you're fixing the right need. And as we get further into the month of July, I think that'll get clearer and clearer.
Jonathan Herrera, 1 ball, 1 strike. And in this size market, even though you are drawing an unbelievable amount of fans to the ballpark every night, and the revenue portion of that has been very good. Slap the other way. Holiday over to get it. That'll go into the corner. Herrera can run a bit. He's on his way to second. Will he stretch it to a triple? He'll try. Throw into third. Oh, they almost got him. Freese was trying to deke him. And a strong throw in from Holiday in the corner out and left. Much closer, I think, than many of us thought that would be.
That was a strong throw. I'm not sure I've seen a throw as strong from Matt Holiday. And this was right on line. There's David Freese standing tall, and the close play, and Herrera just gets the hand in. Bang, bang. There's the hand. There's the tag. I don't know.
He's out.
And that replay looked out to me as well. Nice play by David Freese. Coach is telling him to get down David Freese and say, nope, no ball coming here. I don't know.
Infield is drawn in with a 2-run lead. But my point being, if you make a deal so many times under Walt, and now with Mo, it's a deal for now, but also for the future. You know, and you've got to take in payroll constraints at times with certain contracts. If you absorb those, do they fit into the future plans? Jake Westbrook would be a good example of that, how it all worked out with him. Broken bat and a base hit for the pitcher Guthrie, and the lead is cut now to 2-1. First RBI for Guthrie.
Drawn in infield. A lot easier to get it past guys with the limited range, and he just finds a hole, sticks the bat out. Not pretty, but it got the job done.
Top of the lineup, Dexter Fowler. He's 0 for 2. And a ground ball that's back to Wainwright. Out there and no chance to get the speedy Fowler. Probably not the lead that Wainwright would like to leave his shortstop either.
Now the throw is a little low and behind for call. That would have been bang bang anyway, I think, to make that double play work. Fowler is jammed, so he doesn't get a good jump out of the box. There's the throw behind for call and low.
Marco Scutaro. Fowler is a threat to steal. Five hits aside and a 2-1 lead for St. Louis here in the top of the 5th.
The importance of Wainwright making those 2 quick moves to first base. You can make it quick enough to where you're getting the guy to dive back into the bag. You know, folks will watch that and they'll say, well, what did that accomplish? Nothing. He's not really going to get him. He's in plenty of time, and the pickoff was late. But what you've done is you've created some doubt for Fowler, and you've made him maybe just wait a 1/10 of a second longer before he goes on his break, and that may be the difference between Molina throwing him out and him being safe at second base.
Shorten up his lead just a bit here.
But he's thinking, will he come or not?
I think all of us in watching Molina day in and day out would invite him to run. Why not?
Well, it's a thrill to watch Yachty throw anyway. Doesn't get them all, but it's fun to watch. And don't stray off of first after a pitch that's high and away to Scutaro either. And again, the importance of getting the guy to dive back in. Lou Brock talks about that. If I can just kind of float back to the bag, you've done me a favor because I've seen your move. But if you make me dive in, I don't really know what you did. I just knew I had to get back in a hurry.
Sure. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball. He hung it that time and a base hit out to left. 3 hits in the inning. With 2 outs, it brings in Gonzalez and a chance to do some damage here.
His curveball rolled a little bit on the inner half. Did not have the sharp downward break. Scutaro had his hands back, was able to drive it. Cardinals had a miss last night on a bunt attempt where Yadier Molina was trying to throw the ball down to second base. That led to a problem inning. And the Cardinals had a miss in this inning with Wainwright not being able to turn double play. You just hope that that doesn't come back and bite you. And this guy knows how to bite you.
RBI leaders Beltran, Gonzalez, and Braun. All Stars headed to Kansas City.
Mentioned to the Rockies broadcasters about our comments about Carlos Gonzalez maybe being one of the top 3 players in the game, and they, in their mind, seeing him play day in and day out, they would put him a notch below Matt Kemp, but not really anybody else in their division.
Gonzalez, a slow base hit, or will it be? Wainwright, no play, and nobody at third base as Fowler made that wide turn. If he would have thrown, he probably would have scored. He was flying around third base. It's a base hit.
And Fowler's able to do that because you know David Freese is attacking the ball as well. He's coming in to maybe get it, so he's not in a position to be able to hold him on. So if Wainwright throws, he was planning on going home, so a good thing he didn't. And perhaps some communication there with Yadier Molina telling him to hold it too. That's again part of a catcher's responsibility. Now you've got to face another guy who's red hot.
.833 slugging percentage since June 9th, highest in the major leagues. And up next is Andrew McCutchen. He's been red hot, but that's what we're talking about with Colvin. This guy, this could be the difference in the ball game right here.
You could win a bet with that.
Yeah.
Walk into any place in the country and say, okay, #1 slugging percentage since June 9th in all of baseball. I'll give you 30 guesses.
None of them would say Tyler Colvin.
I don't think so.
Fowler, Scutaro, Gonzalez, good speed on their bases. Helton on deck if he can extend the inning. 2 outs, bases loaded. First pitch, a strike on the inside corner. One pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tied him up. Good pitch in on his hands, and now it's 2 strikes. One-two pitch by Wainwright. Got him to reach, pulled foul. Inning started with a ground out, then the triple. Broken bat base hit by Guthrie. Fielder's choice off the bat of Fowler. Base hits by Scutaro and Gonzalez. One and two again. Outfield straight away. Here it comes.
Cardinals made a mistake with Colvin. Cardinals meaning Joe Kelly, who was very good in his outing. 6 innings, just 2 earned runs against the Rockies here yesterday. But The Colvin home run was on an 0-2 changeup, and I'm sure that's fresh in the mind of Yadier Molina. How do we finish this guy off? 2-2.
Here it comes. Breaking ball, and it's pulled foul. Crowd now comes alive. Fly ball into right. This should do it. Beltran is there, and he makes the catch. Rockies pick up a run, and it's 2-1 midway through 5.
I'm Captain Amy Quinless from Florissant, Missouri, here at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan. I'd like to say hi to all my family and friends in Cardinals Nation, and especially to my husband Marty and my kids Faith, Killian, and Finnegan. I love you. Go Cards!
Thank you, Captain. It's 2-1 St. Louis. We'd never forget World War II Memorial, located here in downtown St. Louis. The pitch that's taken inside by John Jay. Jay, Holiday, Beltran. Bases loaded last time up. He was hit by a pitch. His 11th RBI. He walked and scored back in the first. 1 ball, 1 strike. You can see with that shot our director Tom Mee just gave us, that side view of John Jay. They used to call those his helicopter hands. Remember how much movement he had when he first came up with those hands, the trigger mechanism?
Yeah, and a hitting coach will look at that and they'll generally kind of say, I'm not sure I like that, but it doesn't really matter what you do now. It's where are you when the ball is leaving the pitcher's hand. And all of that's kind of a trigger. Every player has a trigger that kind of gets him into his comfort level. And for whatever reason, moving his hand, some will just kind of start from a dead stop. And the key is to get yourself in a hitting position when the pitcher's getting ready to get rid of the baseball, in a comfortable position.
3-2.
John Jay asking for time, and he does receive it from the home plate umpire. That is a request, not an order.
Nice play by Fowler. 1 away. So Lance Lynn will be signing autographs this Friday. The Bush Bash. And only fans with line tickets receive an autograph at the Bush Bash. Visit cardinals.com/promotions. That'll be this Friday out in the Ford Plaza. That's taken low. And this is Matt Holliday. Holliday flied out to right with the bases loaded to end the 2nd inning. Also has an RBI double. Ripped into left center field. That's a base hit. Gonzalez will hurry up and cut it off, and Holliday is thinking 2. What a slide, but he's called out. Holliday thinking he got the left hand in, and from up air he looked to be safe. He doesn't argue, and it's a throw and a put out for Gonzalez. The play at second, but is he in there?
Paul Schreiber's the second base umpire, and Holliday going to the inside part of the bag. He kind of pulls his right arm back right at the last second. He's safe. Matt Holliday hustles the whole way, makes sure he keeps one hand then the other on the bag, and First of all, he hit the ball hard. Secondly, he hustled. Third, he had a great slide and should have been safe. The presence of mind, Dan, for him to pull the right arm back as the tag was going to be applied on his right arm and then sneak the left one in.
Down the right field line, and this is playable. Coleman is over, foul territory. How about the umpire's position here as we head to break?
He's in the right position. I just think he made the wrong call.
Lance Lynn will get the start tomorrow. And we'll come your way at our normal start time, 6:30 with the pregame show. What's on tap is brought to you by Budweiser.
Looking forward to see Lance Lynn back on the mound again. He's had a couple of so-so starts for him, but so good in the early going. The Cardinals really owe him a big debt, and I am very thrilled he's going to be an all-star. I know you said you talked to him. I did as well. He's really humbled, I think, by what's ahead.
I think to the conversation I had with him right before, it was about a week before spring training began. And Rick, he was just hoping he would make the team. Remember at that time, as you get a look at Todd Helton, Cardinals thought they'd have their full complement of starters, so it was going to be a battle from the right side of the bullpen. McClellan, Sanchez, Mott, obviously Lynn. Right down the middle, 2-1. He said, well, I just hope to make the team. At this point, it's going to be a great battle in spring, and he emerges as a starter and now headed to the All-Star game.
And you throw Boggs into that mix, and we realize we had all these good arms that were going to be the right side bullpen guy, and boy, we have way more than we need. But then with Lynn having to become the starter, which again has worked out just fine, and then Kyle McClellan being hurt, and then both Sanchez and Salas having their ineffective times, all of a sudden what was thought to be a strength has become kind of a problem area. But again, we liked what we saw from Salas yesterday and hope that that's the direction he's headed.
Helton pops it down the left field line. Over to get it, Matt Holliday. One away. Lined out and grounded out. It's a 2-1 lead for the Cardinals here in the top of the 6th.
Wainwright's been sharp. You look at the last inning, the triple for Herrera and then the base hit for Guthrie that led to their lone run. Both balls just flared to the opposite field. Herrera hit his okay, but just found a area down the left field line, and it ended up, because of his speed, a triple. In fact, a close play at third on that particular call. So a couple of calls have gone the Rockies' way. One at third and one at second, both of them involving Matt Holliday.
I didn't like either one either.
Well, we always look at them through our Cardinal colored glasses, don't we?
Absolutely. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Freeze. Foul ball.
Adam Wainwright, one of the top 3 pitchers in all of baseball in terms of numbers against the Rockies. Chris Carpenter, there's a familiar face. Josh Johnson, one of the National League's best at 1.2, but Wainwright on that list. He's been very good against Colorado.
2-2, hit up the middle and off the glove of Furcal and into center. Kids t-shirt is this weekend. It features the one and only Fredbird on the front, and it's really a special day for the kids. There's free ice cream before the game, right up my alley. You've got the chance to run the bases after the game, And there are $11 seats available for the game this Sunday. It's also a Hunter Family Sunday, which means a free hot dog and soda with the purchase of select tickets. And that's this weekend, Miami in town.
Not sure I was here when Fred Bird was first hatched, which I guess is the right.
Sure. That's the right way to put it.
I wasn't there. Don't know exactly where that all took place, but he has become an absolute fixture here at the ballpark, at schools around the greater St. Louis area. Kids certainly know who Fred Bird is and part of the experience.
Carlos Torres getting loose for the Rockies. And Adam would love a double play here. The A base with a base hit today. Runner was going on that pitch.
Nelson only has one stolen base, so that really a hit and run opportunity. Nieve's been a bit of a journeyman. The average has been good. Pitchers like throwing to him, and he's kind of the classic backup catcher. He is extremely likable. All the pitchers like to throw to him. He's a good catch and throw guy, and this year swinging the bat well, but he's still your classic backup catcher. And you better be likable if you have that role.
Not running this pitch. Cutter is hit out of play. (18 of 25 first pitch strikes). He's at 93 right now. Spot in the lineup, 5 away from Wainwright when the Cardinals head back in the dugout. And Rick, it goes back to the conversation we were having earlier, is when is the right time to pull a Lance Lynn, Adam Wainwright. Wainwright coming off that surgery. How many innings do you want to see him get, you know, before August, looking at mid-August when you're heading down the stretch and you want to see him still strong?
I think the question to me that's overriding the number is, how is he throwing? If he's throwing well, I think it's less of an issue. If he is off his mechanics, I think every inning you throw feels like 2 and gives you a little bit more cause for concern. If he's in a groove, I think there are times in August especially where you've got to let your starter come out of a game or make him come out of a game after 6 innings every once in a while because of the physical demands pitching through the heat and the long season. But in terms of saying that there's one specific number, I think it's too simplistic to say that.
2-2 pitch, runner not going, and it's fouled back.
I'm going to catch one of those before the season's over, Dan. You wait and see.
I'm not sure we have had a foul ball come into this booth.
Not that I know of.
Since we've started here in 06. Old ballpark, yes. Nice block again by Yachty. You want to talk about 4th of July and great rivals. You have Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi. Hot dog eating contest. Kobayashi with 68.5 that he downed today. In his contest, he's not part of the, I mean, he's like the WWF and you got the WWE and Joey Chestnut's on the other one. That's a walk.
We had that going on at the ballpark here before the game.
Runners at first and second, and it's the top of the 6th. Happy 4th of July. We come your way from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Dan McLaughlin, Rick Horton, and Pat Paris with you, along with Jim Hayes and Al Raboski. Holiday, the RBI double, and Guthrie. 5 innings pitched, 6 hits. And here is Jonathan Herrera. Runners at first and second.
Michael Kadire is in the on-deck circle to bat for Guthrie. No pitch limit on Guthrie today, but he's at that magical number of 75.
Doesn't get that call as Wainwright stares back into the home plate umpire. A little shocked that he didn't get the strike call. Remember, Herrera had the triple back in the 5th. Things are going right. You get that call. A 2-0 pitch on its way. Right down the middle. 2-1. Colorado with their bench tonight. Kadire's, Rick told you, is on deck. Also think about Jason Giambi. Right-hander getting loose in the pen for St. Louis. The 2-1. Again, it's a strike. 2-2.
Jordan Pacheco, we've seen in this series. He's a third baseman, also catches some. He's also on the bench, hits from the right side. And Willeen Rosario, the catcher. Both guys having very, very good seasons for Colorado.
Two. Foul ball. Browning getting loose. Marte as well. Liner that's knocked down by Craig.
Could be a double
they'll
play.
Get the out at second. Throw to third. Yes, he got him. It's a double play. He couldn't hold on, but that was the best thing that maybe could have happened. It's a double play.
Two to 1 Cardinals, bottom of the 6th. The pitcher's best friend. We know what it is. It's a double play. This is not the normal kind of double play, however. Line drive is knocked down by Alan Craig. Both runners scampering back. He gets the force out at second base. Then it becomes a tag play at third. David Freese right on the money to get Nelson. Close play there. And the Cardinals turn a double play to end the top of the 6th inning. Very alert Rafael Furcal. Also alert for Alan Craig to get rid of that ball in a hurry.
Something finally goes the Cardinals' way.
Good break. That keeps Guthrie in the game. He was going to get pinch hit for. And in some ways, he had to assume he was going to be out of the game. With Herrera at the plate, you're thinking no chance a double play is going to happen here the way he runs. And yet the odd double play keeps Jim Tracy from pinch hitting for Guthrie, and he's back out for the 6th. That's why pitchers have to be very careful not to mentally check out.
Strike at the knees to Craig. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rockies, I'm sure, would be thrilled to get Guthrie through 6 and only 2 runs allowed the way that this game started.
Warm temperatures here this evening. This July 4th. You wonder if the Cardinals can get to Wainwright's spot. Whether they pinch hit for him, I think they would. And they may take him out anyway.
I think they will. Rick, just looking that Marte is still throwing. As you talked about, hot evening. That 100 pitch mark that you're at. We shall see. He's over 100, 104.
So unless he's been told, you can't mentally check out yet if you're Adam Wainwright either.
That's right.
You're thinking who's batting first, who's coming off their bench. It'll be Kadire perhaps. What if they pinch hit Eric Young instead? How am I going to pitch to him? And my guess is that's what they would do to lead off an inning, use Eric Young and save Kadire. And you have to keep mentally pushing until they say you're done.
Time call. Sometimes I'm a little surprised we don't see that even more with Alan Craig, that up and in. A lot of times he gets comfortable, kind of hangs over the plate. And here he strikes out. Cardinals have not had a base hit since back in the 4th inning. Strikeout for Guthrie, and he only has 3 on the night.
Talked about kind of the sloppy breaking ball that he's had this year. That one was a little sharper. It was a late break. It was up in the strike zone, but seems as if he's made a bit of an adjustment on his breaking ball. He hasn't hung a lot of them here this afternoon, as we've heard he's done all season long.
Yadier Molina. We've seen the offense catch up with the defense with Yadier Molina, and everything has fallen into place this year. Model of consistency at the plate, behind the plate. Yadi up the middle, diving stoppage short. One hop to Helton, and they take the hit away. Very fine play by Jonathan Herrera. This July, don't miss the biggest event of the summer. Baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic, and the road to the World Series begins at the All-Star Game, Tuesday, 6:30, only on Fox. Cardinal fans have a chance to send David Freese there. Two outs, nobody on for David. Another chance for Herrera. Outfield grass, similar spot. That time a strike at the chest of Helton. Freese is 0 for 3.
Hello, I'm Captain Nicholas Jablonski from St. Louis, Missouri, currently serving with the Marines from 5th Marine Regiment, Camp Dwyer, Southern Helmand Province, Afghanistan. Currently wishing all my Cardinals fans and my St. Louis Cardinals all the best. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you, Captain. Happy 4th of July to you. It's 2-1. And the 7th inning rolls in. The hot, steamy, muggy night here in the Gateway City. No better place to spend your 4th of July than right here at the ballpark. Michael Clayto takes over in our Chevy call to the pen, so it's up to the bullpen to try to get those final 9 outs and preserve a potential win for Adam Wainwright.
And Clayto being trusted with the 7th inning, it shows how fast he's climbed in the eyes of Mike Matheny. He's got some other choices out in that bullpen, but Clayto has shown some flash here during this homestand. The command is kind of in and out at times, but his stuff is very, very good. Plenty of Cardinal fans enjoying the 4th of July here at Busch Stadium. Glad to have you on hand.
Eric Young Jr. will be the hitter. Wainwright, 6 innings, 1 run, 8 hits, walked 1, the 7 strikeouts, 104 pitches on the night. Eric Young has been getting starts in the outfield. He was drafted initially as an infielder, and just like his daddy, he can flat out run.
And that's why you pinch hit him to lead off an inning instead of Kadire. Kadire more of an RBI guy, so you save him with some damage possibilities, and we'll see Kadire before the night is through, that's for sure. And it finally does feel like a night here. I'm feeling like a day game.
Cooled off a little bit.
Cooled off, and even with the sky here still very, very bright.
One ball, 1 strike. Pulled foul out in front. 1-2 the count. Yachty will flash the signs.
Asking for a slider.
Popped up and out of play. And Rick, that's been the pitch that they've really been working on with Clado. They know he has a tremendous fastball. There's no questioning the fastball, but the off-speed pitch is something to offset that fastball.
Yeah, and I think not only the secondary pitch is important, but I think the pitch that you throw when the count's 1-2 when you're Michael Clado really matters. And I think Yadier Molina knows, you don't go too far outside the strike zone here. You try to get something, put him away right now. You just don't want to get deep into a count. Finish him off.
Puts him away with the strikeout. Let's turn to our trivia question with one out here in the top of the 7th. Brought to you by AT&T. What is the Cardinals team record for career home runs all time on the 4th of July? Stan the Man, Jimmy Edmonds with 4. Saw where Jim Edmonds was ranked in the top 10 all time by MLB Network center fielders in the game of baseball. Top 10 ever.
How about that?
Pretty good. That's not bad either. Duke Snider, Willie Mays, Larry Doby, and Mickey Mantle. There's some center fielders for you on that list too.
Yeah, career home runs on the 4th of July. Nice to see Larry Doby's name on that list. A guy that probably gets way little attention that he really deserves. First African-American player in the American League at a time when really the American League and the National League were very distinctly different. Now with interleague play and umpires with kind of umpiring for both leagues, it kind of has more of a us feel. But at the time, the American League and National League very separate in a lot of ways. And to be the first African-American player in the American League, we talk about Jackie Robinson a lot, but probably not enough about Larry Doby.
Strikeout number 2 for Clado. Brings in the second baseman Scudero following the strikeout of Fowler, who has struck out 3 times. Cardinals are hoping by mid-July Lance Berkman is back in the lineup. Be fun to see this team go on a tear, that healthy everyday lineup, and then address whatever needs they feel they have to with their pitching.
Well, we had video of him running yesterday that we showed on our telecast, and he was running free and easy and looked good, looked healthy. And so I was very encouraged watching Lance Berkman run. The hitting, I'm not worried about it. He's just born to hit. And he's going to get his timing fairly quickly, and that's just not a problem as far as I'm concerned. And there's what we saw yesterday. That's not a guy that looks like he's having much problem.
He was telling me it's more about the starting, the stopping, and ironically enough, he's playing first base where he gets hurt. And I think the perception was that before last season we thought, well, how's he going to play the outfield with bad knees? And really the outfield was easier on his knees than the infield.
And he actually predicted that. He actually said, I think I'm going to have deal with more issues as a first baseman. No, I'm not running as far, but it's the stops and the starts and the constant stops and starts at first base that make that a little more difficult for me. Taking ground balls today, and again looking very comfortable. Great to see.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
So the bad news of Chris Carpenter has certainly been a difficult thing for Cardinal Nation to handle, but the good news of Lance Berkman's imminent return maybe makes us all feel a little bit better.
Yep. Trying to find at bats for everybody. That's a good problem to have too.
You bet.
The 3-2 pitch. The last thing that Clado wants to do is walk Scudero and allow Gonzalez to do some damage.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Clado here in the 7th inning, and high leverage situation for him as well. Very impressed with him here tonight.
How about the game within the game here, Ricky? They know that his best pitch is a fastball. You're 3-2. He does not want to see Gonzalez. Does he have enough confidence, though, in an off-speed pitch?
We shall see. What does Yachty suggest? Fastball away. Good suggestion.
3-2 is driven out to center field. Jay spun around. He's back. Oh, he makes a sensational catch. John Jay, what a play in center. Was spun around. He was playing shallow and tracks it down on the track here at Busch Stadium. Time to stretch on the 4th of July. Busch Bash will be this Friday, and it's Lance Lynn signing autographs in the Ford Plaza. Visit cardinals.com/promotions for more details. Get Tyler Green here, pinch hitting for Schumacher. Pitcher spot is on deck. And then you'll see Rafael Furcal. Chevy called to the pen. Matt Reynolds into the game, a lefty for the Rockies. 20th round selection back in 2007 out of Austin Peay.
Mike Matheny had Shane Robinson in the on-deck circle to begin with, and then he called him back quickly, and Shane's standing right next to Mike now, but he sent Daniel Descalzo into the on-deck circle. So interesting, he's got the lefty on deck. Robinson really not going anywhere, though. He's ready just in case Mike Matheny changes his mind again, and it may depend on the situation.
Inside again and low. Count is even. It's 2-2 on Tyler Green.
My guess is if Tyler Green gets on, Daniel Descalzo, very good bunter, he would have him there for that situation.
Don't have to worry about it as he strikes out. Descalzo will hit, though. Set it up too. With Descalzo hitting here, he stays in the game, can play second base, and then you move your next pitcher into the 8th spot in the lineup.
Absolutely.
Breaking ball, pretty good one there for a strike. Oh, 1 pitch. Fool on that pitch. 0-2.
Dan, you bring up a very good point there about the responsibility of a manager and his bench coach to help him out as he thinks along with him. When you have multiple pinch hitters in an inning or multiple changes going on, you've got to make sure the double switch matches what you're able to do defensively without wasting an extra player.
Descalzo is aboard. Helton couldn't get to it, and the second baseman Scudero boxed it. I wouldn't think they'd give him a base hit, but you never know. It is an error.
It's an error, but it'd have been a tough throw. But because he boxed it the way he did, 9th error of the year for Scudero. I mean, it's certainly a ball he should handle easily. It would have been a tough throw on the run, but they would have had time to get Descalzo. But he ends up Cardinal base runner here in the 7th, and could be a very important base runner.
Zipchinski is getting loose. The Rockies have 3 lefties due up, and Gonzalez, Colvin, and Helton. Furcal on the first pitch, a fly ball to Dexter Fowler in center.
There's Zipchinski.
You think Mike is tempted at all to ride the hot hand of his new lefty?
I think tempted a bit, but Browning did pitch an inning yesterday, and then 2 days before that he went 2 innings, and I wouldn't think he'd be excluded from pitching tonight, but I think you have to have some balance. And tempted, yes, but I think his brain's telling him I have to have Zepchinski out there getting some important innings. He's still our late inning left-hander, and I've got to show him I believe in it.
I remember after games, usually the following day, not initially right after a game, and you talked to Tony La Russa about game management and specific moves, and he said, look, I understand that some moves don't make sense, especially early in the season. It's always going to be debatable, but he said early, especially first half of the year, I would make moves knowing that that move could be a confidence boost right in August. And this is a great example of what he would be talking about. Zepchinski needs things to build on. If he has a good inning here, who knows, maybe he takes off.
And the Cardinals bullpen has been going in a good direction anyway, and maybe you just get the sense that Zep is going to go right along with that ride, although you could even make a case that he's been pretty good his last 2 outings himself. So yes, he had a bad run. There goes the runner.
That's into center field. You mentioned it last night. Wild pitches and the passed balls that the Rockies have been dealing with this year. You never know what could happen with a runner at third.
And this one's from their backup catcher Nieves, who has a high throw trying to get Descalzo. A good jump for Daniel. Good pitch to handle up in the strike zone, but oops. Shortstop's not that tall.
The 2-1 pitch to Jay. Out to right field. It's pretty well hit. Who wants it? It's Fowler who makes the catch on the track. Big bats of the Rockies coming up. A 2-1 game in favor of the Cardinals. Welcome back to baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's go to our studio and a Bommarito Sports Update.
Dan, thank you very much. Cliff Lee still looking for his first win of the season, and he finally gets it today against the Mets. Here's the final of Lee's 9 strikeouts, 8 innings, 1 earned. Picks up his first W of the season, does Lee in his 14th start. 9-2 the final Phillies. Dan, Rick, back to you over at Busch.
And Pat, the Phillies started play today, 12 games out. Shocking there in the East. Now for the Cardinals, looking at some of the numbers from last year compared to this year. The home runs are up. ERA is a little bit higher. You see the ground balls that they've hit into, the double plays, but what stands out for you?
Well, what stands out is the numbers are better, but the record really isn't. And I think that's going to be something that's going to have to get squared away in the second half. And I think that has to, again, do with some of the pitching numbers. They actually have more stolen bases as well. So they're running more, hitting into less double plays, hitting more home runs, a lot of positive numbers, and just hope that translates into a long winning streak somewhere in the second half.
Zepchinski comes in. The lefty will get Gonzalez, Colvin, and Helton. Numbers on Mark Zepchinski. Gonzalez with 2 base hits tonight. Slider in there for a strike.
Sometimes when you make your batting order, you do it because you have the right guy who's an RBI guy, a power guy, your best hitter in the 3rd spot. And in this case, they all happen to be left-handed, which sets up well for the Cardinals bullpen. They can bring in 1 lefty to face 3 guys in a row.
And I was a little surprised to see that Colvin is batting cleanup sandwiched between the 2 lefties, because he's a guy that does allow them to have a little flexibility.
I just don't think you can hit Todd Helton cleanup right now.
No.
You could maybe separate Helton and somebody else below him, maybe Chris Nelson, put a right-hander in the middle, but that's not enough to really scare anybody into taking your left-hander out.
Right.
That's why you need a big right-handed bopper like Kadire in the lineup. That's why he's important to this Rockies club.
The 2-1 pitch to Carlos Gonzalez.
Dan, you mentioned the Phillies back in their losing ways. They have been dealing with a 6-game losing streak. The Astros 6-game losing streak as well, and they lost again today to the Pirates. So now 7 in a row for the Astros. Milwaukee, really the hottest team in the National League. They'd won 4 straight before losing today to Miami. But the Reds are trailing today, so that's good news. But it's early.
And apparently a deal has gone down for Carlos Lee. The Marlins pick up Carlos Lee for Matt Dominguez and Rob Rasmussen. Pair of prospects. Dominguez, a third baseman. Rasmussen, left-handed pitcher. Zipchinski gets a big strikeout.
That's the guy he's got to get. There's the sharp slider that we saw last year from Zipchinski. Well done.
Many eyes looking towards the Phillies and Shane Victorino, Cole Hamels, free agents to be and what they might do at the trade deadline. That team is not getting any younger. You know, do they try to retool and reload for one more run with Halladay and Lee and Howard, Utley, or do they say this is it and they blow it up?
It's a tough question for the Phillies. Charlie Manuel as the leader has done such a nice job with them. But that is clearly a team at the crossroads.
What's interesting about the Carlos Lee deal is that this is not a salary dump. Apparently the Astros picked up most of Lee's remaining contract, and what they wanted was some good players in return, and apparently these are 2 highly thought of prospects for the Marlins. It was a 6-year deal, you might remember, $100 million. And the Astros may just be getting going. They've got Brandon Lyons, Brett Myers, Wandy Rodriguez, maybe even Jay Happ, Bud Norris. All could be dealt as they retool.
Sounds as if the Marlins don't believe Gabby Sanchez is going to turn it around.
Yeah. Good pitch in on the hands. Stars align for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, the best of the American and National Leagues. Top players, don't miss the action. Tuesday, that'll be at 6:30 Central Time, only on Fox. Remember, Carlos Lee had a choice to go to Los Angeles, and he had a limited no trade. He rejected that deal because his family, he said, was not on board with the deal, but willing to go to Miami, not Los Angeles. In his contract, he reserves the right to make that choice. 0-1 pitch to Helton. Crowd tonight of 42,338.
And they've seen 11 strikeouts from Cardinals pitchers so far. Wainwright had 7. Clado had a good solid inning where he struck out 2, and Zepchinski's gotten the first 2, and the hottest 2 hitters in the order for Colorado. What a boost to the confidence of Mark Zepchinski if he can have a 1-2-3 inning here.
Be careful with Todd Helton. 2 balls and 1 strike. Ground ball. What a job by Zepchinski. Descalso makes the play. A pair of strikeouts of Gonzalez and Colvin, and the ground out off the bat of Helton. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Ford, the official vehicles of your world champion St. Louis Cardinals. Mark Zepchinski, Rick Horton, is our Schnucks difference maker.
He showed a very short and quick slider, striking out one of the best players in the league in Gonzalez. Then he went in on Colvin, who's been red hot, and a little lousy ground ball to the second baseman. How easy is this game for Mark Zepchinski here tonight? He is our Schnucks difference maker.
Mike Matheny looking at that lineup card that'll feature Nelson, Nieves, and Herrera. 6, 7, and 8 for the Rockies in the top of the ninth, but unfinished business here in the bottom half of the eighth. Adam Ottavino, second time we've seen him in this series. Remember the first time he walked off the mound and was looking at his fingertips. We were guessing that he was dealing with a blister of some sort.
But he went right back out and was able to pitch a nice inning, and he looked pretty sharp here the other night. Inning and a third.
He was throwing mid-90s the other night. That pitch at 93.
And you mentioned Nelson, Nieves, and Herrera. I'll bet you right now that's not who Jason Mott faces in the top of the ninth.
Still on that bench, Kadire, Jason Giambi,
Jordan Pacheco, Willeen Rosario. You may see all four of those guys.
Rangers pitcher Yu Darvish and David Freese continue to lead in the votes for the All-Star game. You can vote David in at Cardinals.com right now.
Don't stop. Go to the whip.
1-2 pitch. Two pitch to Holiday. Count runs full. Matt got things going back in the first inning. RBI double down the third base line. Popped out with the bases loaded. Tried to stretch a single into a double in the fifth and was thrown out.
Kind of.
Yeah, I thought he was safe too. Goes the other way for a base hit. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Two old buddies over there at first base, Holiday and Helton. Now here's Beltran.
Holiday 8th in the National League in batting going into play tonight. He's 3 for 4, continues to climb up that ladder.
Average at 301 right now for Beltran. The 20 homers. He's driven in 63. 2 flyouts tonight and a ground out. Runner at first is Holiday. Short lead there.
Never really accused Carlos Beltran of looking tense. I mean, even facially, just very kind of nonchalant, relaxed.
Unfortunately, I think at times that gets misinterpreted
No
as
question.
not caring, and that's not the case. As we have all learned as Carlos has joined the Cardinals and we're around him every day, we see it.
It's funny, we tell little league kids, our little 8-year-olds, now just relax, don't get nervous, just relax. Then you get to the big leagues, we want you to tense up and look like you're trying. I'm not sure what we want.
The 2-1 pitch to Beltran. Here it comes.
You have to play this game relaxed.
Game of failure. You've heard it a million times. And frustration. Best in the world only do it 3 out of 10 times. Pick up a base hit.
It's really what's going on between your ears that matters. That's where the focus really comes from. Not tensing up your body, tensing up your face, gritting your teeth. All that's counterproductive.
And they come out to visit with 3 balls and 1 strike. That drive you crazy as a pitcher to come out in the middle of an at bat like this when you're 1 pitch away from a ball? You're dealing with an all-star and you've just allowed a base hit. I mean, if you're Adam Ottavino, you're saying, I want the ball, I want to go after him, I'm trying.
Well, in fairness, from a pitcher's point of view, you never really wanted to see anybody, period. I mean, there's never really a time where whatever is happening, you know it's not good. They're not coming out and saying hello or talking about dinner or telling you you're doing a good job, because if any of that's happening, they can wait till later and tell you that. So you never really want to see them. And you're always kind of doing your best to half listen to them and kind of overcome your own angst that you're feeling. But I agree with you that when you are in the middle of a count, or if it's the bases loaded, or I mean, there's certain times where it's worse because you know the situation. You don't need to be reminded of it.
And that's the point. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Runner goes. Swung on and missed. Throw to second. Stolen base for Holiday. Again, it's into center field, but he'll stop there.
Stolen base number 4 for Matt Holliday. A hit and run. Slides into the bag. Glad he didn't jam his wrist doing that. Looked like he hit kind of hard the base. He's able to kind of release at the last second. And again, another conversation. Now it's 3-2. We'll talk some more.
This is the 3rd time they've had a visit with Beltran at the plate. And I'm assuming that this one's about, hey, first base is open. Craig is on deck. You know, don't give in, but be careful.
Yeah. Don't give up a hit. Don't throw a ball, but be careful.
Right.
But good luck. I mean, what do you do?
Hang in there. Good luck.
If you want me to walk him, tell me.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. Beltran rips it into center. Here comes Holiday, and they're going to hold him up. Throw is way offline. He would have scored easily, but with big bats coming up, no need to chance it. Cardinals baseball on this 4th of July on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Live Mas. Here's Alan Craig. Right-hander's been getting loose in the pen for the Rockies. Cardinals would love some insurance here. Runners at the corners and a 2-1 lead. Craig has fly to center, grounded out to third, called out on strikes back in the 6th. Infield is drawn in. First pitch, a strike. Middle infielders now talking it over. They're not quite all the way in. It would have to be a pretty hard hit ball for them to go to the plate and try to get that runner at third.
It'd be a tough decision for them as to whether or not to get the 2 out, to give up the 1 run. I don't think they can afford to give up another run. I think you have to come home. And I think they're just banking on the fact that we've already seen a good arm from the shortstop, Herrera. I think he thinks he can probably get Holiday at the plate on anything hit with decent speed to short. I think Scudero has to be in more. I know you're facing some dangerous players in Craig and Molina and Freeze, but you just have to just try to find a way defensively to give up no runs.
0-1 pitch. Found it interesting in talking with Lance Berkman about last year. I said, give me your favorite moment. World Series, you know, you've waited so long. For you personally, what was it? I said, oh, it's easy. Alan Craig catching that final out. I said, you kept the whole thing going. What about that? Nah, that wasn't a big deal. Craig lines it to short. And now what does Jim Tracy do with the potential of a double play off the bat of Yadier Molina with his middle infielders?
You got two choices here. You can hope that maybe Molina will hit into that double play. I think he's going to walk Molina, though, would be my guess. David Freese, also very potent player on deck, who's also a guy that's hit into a number of double plays. But the thing with Freese is you're more apt to be able to strike him out. Yadi just does not strike out. And so you have a couple of options here. Hope for the double play. Looks like that's what they're going to do. Molina over 390 with runners in scoring position. I thought I saw Jim Tracy put the four fingers up. He must have been signaling something to the middle infielders.
That's the pitch right there that you're trying to get him to roll over, get the ground ball. Molina has grounded into 5 double plays, and here's the chance of Yadi here at the park. One-0 pitch on its way.
A couple of curveballs. He's trying to get him to reach and hit the ball on the ground somewhere.
Now will he see anything even close to the plate? 2-0. As you mentioned, then just take your chances, bases loaded, force it anywhere with David Freese.
I'd throw a fastball off the plate, see if I can get him to swing at it and hit it on the ground.
Trying to go the other way and hits it out of play.
Steady diet of breaking balls. And Yadi's a good breaking ball hitter too. You can't really stay one way with Yadier Molina.
The count is 2 balls, 1 strike on Yadier Molina. Runner goes from first. It's taken high. Beltran is safe at second base. That is a steal. And with first base open, did they just put him on here? I would assume they would.
Looks like they are.
Yes, they will. You can vote him in for the All-Star game, and here comes last year's postseason hero, David Freese. Holiday, Beltran, Molina, and now this crowd comes alive. Freese is 0 for 3 tonight. Some of the folks on their feet. You want drama on the 4th of July? You get a little bit of it right here.
I'll say.
First pitch to Freese. On the outside corner, it's a strike. Was called out on strikes back in the 2nd inning. Fly to right, grounded out to short, and there's a look at your base runners. The 0-1 pitch to David. 0-2. They shade Freese just a bit to the opposite field. Huge gap in left center. $42,000 plus ready to erupt. The next to Freeze. Base hit into left. One run is in. Here comes Beltran. Throw by Gonzalez is cut off, and Freeze delivers. They get Molina at second base. 2-run score, and it makes it 4-1. David Freeze with RBIs 49 and 50, and the Cardinals get the insurance they were looking for.
Behind in the count, he hangs in and produces. Ball up in the middle of the plate. Hard hit to the left side. Good break from second base for Carlos Beltran. One more look. Another big hit for David Freeze. 50 RBIs. 4-1 St. Louis.
Now Matt Carpenter with a runner at first, and that pitch is taken low and outside. Carpenter is the pinch hitter for Zipchinski, and boy was he good, Rick, here tonight.
He really was. So was Michael Clado. 1-2-3 inning for him, a couple of strikeouts. 1-2-3 inning for Zipchinski, a couple of strikeouts.
Again, that final vote. Those four are left: Bourne, Freeze, Harper, and Hill. Ends tomorrow at 3 Central. Cardinals.com, easy to do. 2-0 pitch. Three and 0. 3-1. Descalso on deck. Another runner in scoring position. This time it's Freeze. Let's go back to his base hit.
0-2 is the count. Ottavino ahead. They're trying to keep Carlos Beltran close at second base, so the shortstop is keeping him close, staying right behind him. And where's the ball hit on that 0-2 pitch? To his right. And normally a ball that the shortstop could handle, but David Freeze is able to come up big on the 4th of July.
Hey, I'm Master Liddell Gayden, currently serving in Afghanistan with the Regimental Combat Team 5. I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois. I'd just like to take the time to give a shout out to my family and friends in St. Louis and East St. Louis, and also to the St. Louis Cardinals. Go Cards!
Thank you, Sergeant. And it's 4-1 Cardinals now. Torres comes into the ballgame, a right-hander, and he will face Daniel Descalso.
Torres was just recalled for today's game. He's been up and down a couple of different times. Spent some time in the American League with the White Sox. And it's going to be a bit of a revolving door in that bullpen with Colorado, the way they're using their pitching staff this year.
What do you think that back end of the bullpen is going to feel like and look like by end of August?
Well, the oddity is they're going to have some guys that are really thinking like starters, so the numbers will be high for them.
Descalso hits a 2-hopper to second.
They're going to have to use their AAA staff some, that's for sure.
David Freeze providing some insurance. RBI count now up to 50.
4-1 Cardinals as we head to the 9th in St. Louis. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Al Roboski will be at Lumiere Place. They'll break down Adam Wainwright's night. They'll take tweets and award prizes for the best tweet as to why David Freeze should be an all-star. David Freeze providing some insurance tonight. And we head back to the booth, and Dan and Rick, guys.
All right, Jim, thank you. Happy 4th of July to you and to all our viewers. This afternoon turning into a beautiful evening here in St. Louis. Jason Mott comes in 17 of 21 in save opportunities. And he's been given a little cushion now thanks to David Freeze. It's 4-1.
Breathing room,
yeah.
No question. The 1-run lead is always precarious, especially when they've got some pop on their bench. Now the Rockies are going to have to play it that we've got to get a couple of guys on before we bring in Giambi. And their catcher, Willeen Rosario, who we've seen in this series, who has good pop, is making his way in from the Colorado bullpen. So we'll see him pinch hit here. And you'd think that he would have predicted that a bit.
One ball, one strike on Chris Nelson. 1 for 3 on the night with a base hit that was a single. First time up. 95 on the gun from Mott. 2 strikes, 1 and 2. Got him with a cutter. Strikeout for Mott. Good movement on that pitch.
And now 5 strikeouts for Cardinal relievers already. The cutter, the secondary pitch we talk about. Late break. Doesn't have to break a lot. Just moving away from the hitter Nelson. That pitch at 91 miles an hour, just enough of a wrinkle for him to come off it a bit. Good pitch for Mott.
Strike 1 on Will Nieves. Turn to our Budweiser player of the game. No argument there. Adam Wainwright, the starter.
Looking for his 7th victory of the season. He was strong today. Only 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Scratch run in the 5th inning. Fly ball triple. Broken bat base hit.
What did you see with Adam that, made him so effective tonight?
First pitch strikes. You talked about it. You had the number. It was high. And then the curveball and the cutter were good complements for those fastballs early in the count.
0-2 is the count here. Liner caught. Late push for David Freese to update what he's done tonight. He's now up to 50 RBIs. Michael Bourne goes 3 for 4. Harper 2 for 4. Pair of runs scored. Aaron Hill. And he's just getting things going. 1 for 1 with a run scored. Freese right now leading those 4, or rather those 3. And he's the top man of the 4 that are left. This is the last night for the All-Star voting. Ends tomorrow at 3. Here's Pacheco. 2 outs, nobody on. Strike 1. Imagine David Freese could be added to this all-star roster and the blood pressure of Dusty Baker shoots through the roof.
I'll say. And that not for the first time.
Good point. 1-2 the count with 2 down. Nobody on, and a 4-1 Cardinals lead here in the top of the 9th. Base hit. Previous hitter was 0-2, hit a rocket to short. There's 1-2 and a base hit.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing, and almost as if Jason Mott tries to throw it just a little bit harder, gets a little bit more amped up. Maybe the ball straightens out a bit, and you just have to kind of stay within yourself. And hard to do that when you are amped up as the closer, crowd's on their feet. You want to try to throw the ball as hard as you can. And credit Pacheco, who's having a nice season offensively, for fighting that off. Now you got to deal with Kadire.
Final home for the Rockies, Michael Kadire. The hold the runner at first. Big gap in left center. Pitch that misses outside. 9th overall pick back in 1997, and spending his first season outside of Minnesota for the first time in 14 years. He was in that organization. You have to wonder, as the Rockies retool, is Kadire a guy that could be on the move? He's in year 1 of a 3-year contract, and many teams would love to add his type of presence to the clubhouse. He's also been productive at times too. Now he's down to his final strike.
Cardinal fans want to win. They want fireworks. They want to celebrate. They are poised to do so.
Here's a 1-2. Is that what you're talking about there, Ricky, where you get that final strike potentially and overthrow it?
Yep. You'd almost see the extra effort from Mott. Can't really fault him for that, but you'd like to find it maybe just a hair back.
Kadire base hit into right. Interesting move now for Jim Tracy. You've got the potential tying run coming to the plate. Very nice piece of hitting there by Kadire. Do you pull back Dexter Fowler and roll the dice with a guy that could tie it up with one swing of the bat?
Well, that's a good spot for that pitch. There was nothing wrong with that pitch from Jason Mott. You just have to, on that kind of base hit, and hopefully Yadier Molina's saying that to Jason Mott, hey, you can't do anything about that. That was a great pitch, and he just put the bat head on it and did what good hitters do. Fowler has shown some pop. And has 10 home runs out of that leadoff spot, and so Jim Tracy choosing to go with him instead of Jason Giambi.
Twice the Rockies have been down to their final strike. Twice they extended the game. Inside to Fowler.
Fowler's the kind of player that will have 4 for 4 nights, and then it'll go 0 for 8 and look terrible, and then it'll look good, and then it'll look terrible. So he clearly has ability. Consistency is his next level.
And this is the side of the plate he has his best power numbers. Of those 10 home runs, 8 from the left side. He's a switch hitter. Scudero is on deck if we extend this ball game. One pitch. Nasty in on the hands. Very good pitch. And again, here we go.
A little wrinkle to that.
It's looked different tonight from the first pitch. That little cutter or whatever he's throwing.
That had a sharp break to it in on the hands. All right, now they're ready.
The 1-2 pitch. Got him. Cardinals take game 3. They hold on. 4-1 the final.
Let the fireworks begin. The Cardinals even their homestand record at 3-3. Adam Wainwright the winner. David Freese, a very, very big hit in the 8th inning.
Don't go away. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Our post-game show is coming your way next. Big night for Freese. Big night for the Cardinals. They win it on the 4th of July.
Game is over, and a Cardinal victory over at Busch Stadium on this 4th of July. Alice polished off his chicken wings. He's ready to break it all down on Cardinals Live.
Yes, I am. It was a good game right here. Good to see Adam Wainwright pick that up. Good to see the bullpen just really keep on this little mastery as they really are pitching extremely well and all in very tight ball games.
Yeah, we'll talk much more about that bullpen that did such a terrific job tonight and have for almost a week now. Also coming up on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, nothing says America like baseball in the summer, so get ready. It's an Independence Day edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, and the Redbirds with All-American boy Adam Wainwright on the Hill looking to declare his freedom from Rockies batters. We'll break down his stuff. And what better way to celebrate our freedom by exercising our right to vote for David Freese. We'll tell you why you should do so. Plus, perhaps some fireworks on Mic'd Up and inside the Cardinal clubhouse. Probably not. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Not all post-game shows are created equal. The best of the bunch is next.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
The next to Freese. Run is in. Here comes Beltran. Throw by Gonzalez is cut off, and Freese delivers.
David Freese delivers the knockout blow on Independence Day. 4-1 the final with his 2 insurance runs, and get out the vote. Freese, please. Cardinals are trying to get everyone in Cardinal Nation to vote for David Freese and make him the final selection to the All-Star game as a National League and Cardinal representative. And we want you to tweet at us. The tweet is on. Send us your Redbird questions and comments via Twitter to @FSMidwest. Hashtag them Freese please and tell us why David Freese should be an All-Star. We'll give away a Fox Sports Midwest prize pack to the best one, so make them good, make them count, just like your vote for David Freese. Hello everybody and welcome inside Lumiere Place at Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. He's Al Roboski, I'm Pat Paris. It's the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. The Mad Hungarian and proud American Al Roboski will break this one down. We will talk about a terrific day for Adam Wainwright. Also, just enough offense for the Cardinals. We'll get you Mike Matheny's post-game thoughts as well as some reaction from inside that Cardinal clubhouse. And we will talk much more about the vote for David Freese. You have less than 24 hours to vote for him on MLB.com or StLouisCardinals.com to get him into the All-Star game 6 days from now in Kansas City. But we're talking about tonight. And when you're playing the Rockies and you've got that good of pitching going against a very formidable offensive club, you've got to get runs against what has turned out to be, well, the 16th ranked pitching staff in the National League.
Yes, right now, both these clubs have very good offenses, and they really haven't shown up here. In the last couple days, it was the Rockies starters, Francis, and company. Their bullpen did a good job. Same thing you could say here. Guthrie held it tight in there. They got a couple of the insurance runs later. And we want you to vote for David Freese, but why is Matt Holliday not an All-Star?
I would agree with that. And this is one of those, it's going to look kind of silly when you leave him off a team if he continues this hot hitting, which he has now for 17 games. If he continues this all the way to the All-Star break and he's hitting around 320, 325, it's going to look mighty silly. He was the guy that delivered the game-winning RBI early in this ball game. Let's go back over to Busch Stadium because moments ago it was Matt Holliday and our Jimmy the Cat Hayes. Matt Holliday is our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers Player of the Game. Cat?
Matt Holliday, 3 for 4, runs scored, RBI as well. You guys got a couple of runs early, and Wainwright took over from there. How about him tonight?
He pitched really well. He gave up a couple of kind of hits, but he pitched really well. He pitched 6 innings, 1 run. It looked like Adam.
To say you're comfortable at the plate might be an understatement. Last 16 games, you're hitting .516. When you're feeling comfortable, what's going right? Is it just getting pitches you like? What are you doing?
Well, I'm getting a good swing off on pitches I should hit. I'm not missing. I'm not missing good pitches to hit. Sometimes when you're struggling, you hit over the top of them or you're fouling back. And right now, I'm doing a decent job of hitting them hard.
Again, understanding the media has nothing to do with jinxing or anything like that, but you win tonight. How important to keep it going and head into the All-Star break with a little run?
Yeah, we need to, especially here at home, we need to win some games. We need to play better at home. We need to have a better record at home if we want to get to where we want to go.
Thank you, Matt.
Those are great questions, Jim.
Pretty good. It's my guy, Matt Holliday. Send it back to you.
All right, Jim. A heat wave. Now, Matt Holliday doesn't want us to talk about it with him, but we can talk about it, Al, now that he's not with Jimmy the Cat Hayes. He has been unbelievable in this homestand. You're talking about the temperature beginning last Friday, 100 degrees plus. Every day it's been triple digits, and his hitting has been equally as hot.
Oh, the other day it was 104 degrees out there in the field, and he was throwing batting practice not only to his 2 sons, but Mark McGuire's two sons and also Chris Carpenter. So it's not bothering him at all, and he's just been on fire. Not only this homestand, but how about the last 16 games? 33 for 64, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs. Why is he not an all-star?
You could make a strong case for why is he not an all-star. I think we've all will be in agreement with that. And you look at Matt Holliday on this homestand. You mentioned the numbers the last 16 games. How about just since the temperature's gotten over 100 degrees, June 29th, 12 for 21, 571, the 2 homers, 2 doubles, 7 RBIs. That slugging percentage is unbelievable. And again, with a 3-hit night tonight, 5th multi-hit game.
And who's hotter, Matt Holliday or the July temperatures?
That's a toss-up. How about tied for first, as the former skipper used to say, tied for first. Holliday providing some fireworks tonight. Holiday fireworks going on right now near the Arch grounds as St. Louis and the rest of America celebrates Independence Day, Al.
Yeah, very, very nice. It's always such a great tribute down here on the riverfront, and so it's nice to see what's going on there. A lot of people are down there on the riverfront. Traffic's going to be a little tough, but it sure makes it a lot nicer after a Cardinal victory.
It certainly does. We're going to go back over to Busch Stadium right now. Mike Matheny stepping to the podium. Mic'd Up, brought to you by the Sheet Metal Workers Local 36.
Adam tonight?
It was a great performance from Adam. Adam did a nice job for us, and it was good the bullpen could do their job and keep it where it was.
How about the bullpen? That's 5 games in a row now where they've been pretty much lights out.
Yeah, and you got to give a lot of credit to all of them, but Clado coming in a tough spot. You know, we talked about him, you know, getting tougher assignments, and that's a pretty tough one. And I don't think that Zeps had a tougher with the middle of their lineup and coming in and doing what he did. And then obviously Mott coming in and getting it done. But that's nice to see.
The bullpen's got 19 strikeouts, 1 walk in the last 5 games. I mean, they're throwing strikes.
It's a great stat. You know, it's a great stat. I know we've been you know, talking all season, working ahead in the count, and they're doing a nice job of it.
Kind of a weird double play, but it was big, the 3-6-5.
Yeah, it's huge. And it's just everybody thinking. Us, you know, Rafi's he's a veteran. He's been doing this a long time. He's got great instincts. And to kind of assess the situation, realize what happened there, and still have that play at third was a nice play.
You know, getting a little bit of trouble in the 5th, but to get that pop out with the bases loaded, just his ability to kind of bear down.
Yeah, he's always had that to pitch out of trouble. That's why you always, as we start getting guys loose in the bullpen, it's always that question of whether or not we go get him help, because he's typically the guy that can get out of it as good as anybody. So he's just got that knack, and I don't know how you train for that. I think it's just part of who he is.
Well, Mike, for you, the question is about the bullpen this year. Has the answer for you been more of stuff or more about approach with these guys?
No, you're kind of in between there, where you still have execution. That's the other. You know, you have an approach, and if the approach is wrong, you're going to get beat. If the stuff isn't there, you know, you're going to get beat. But it's all, you can have both the stuff and the right idea, and if you don't execute, nothing good's going to happen. And the guys are executing pitches right now because stuff's not a question. We have guys with to me, above average stuff in our bullpen that shouldn't get hit like they have for a part of this season. Hopefully that changes now.
At some points this year, though, haven't you addressed approach, though, with these guys in terms of maybe being a little bit more aggressive?
Yeah, and I guess we're thinking different things as far as approach goes. You know, whether approach can also be how you're going to get individual guys out. As far as throwing strikes, I mean, that's certainly something that we believe in. And if you're not working ahead in the count, you're in trouble in this league. But that's not anything that's been different. I think it's been execution, making quality pitches, and to get ahead in the count, not just serving it up. But they're doing a nice job of making good quality pitches early and then finishing.
How would you describe the way Holliday's swinging the bat right now?
His numbers are, you know, pretty indicative of what he's been able to do lately, and you know, he's just. He just looks like a different hitter when you get that kind of confidence that he has right now. I mean, he was getting his hits early on, and obviously to get to 3, where is he at now? Almost 320. You know, you have to have a lot of hits along the way, but he's just every time he walks in there, he knows he's going to hit the ball hard.
We've talked a lot about close games lately. Could the bullpen be the variable in kind of turning that around, the record where you want it to be?
Well, I think we've had a lot of examples where that really didn't work out for us, to where we had short leads, small leads, and couldn't hold on to it in the middle innings. That really was a nemesis for us early on, and so that's a nice piece to start getting in place, and hopefully just continue.
Mike, with that being said, you just talked about the importance of those two add-ons in the eighth there with David.
Big hit for David, big hit for us. Giving Jason a little bit of room is always a nice thing to do, and it's good to see. David's been in there grinding and fighting. It's good to see some good results happen for him. We needed it. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
For Mike Matheny, we go to the tweet is on. Remember, we're asking for your Freeze Please tweets. Why should David Freese be in the All-Star game? Here's a sampling because he was our hero in October, and he can be our hero again in July. Freeze Please. Continuing now, David Freese deserves the All-Star nod because Chuck Norris wears David Freese pajamas. So it's one of those Chuck Norris isms that David Freese is actually better than him. Fox Sports Midwest because he's the bee's knees. That's from your era, Al. Oh, that kind of lingo.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Freese should be an all-star because he emits awesomeness. Remember, Al, we're looking for the best one because they get a Fox Sports Midwest prize pack because he's in the all-star commercial.
That is very true. I noticed that. So it would be fitting for him to be there.
And one more, record-breaking, drama-making, fan-pleasing 2011 postseason. Enough said. It's good. It's
Enough
good.
said.
We're still waiting for better, but we think that we've got a good start to why David Freese.
Very good start.
And you need to tweet at us. Al, if he only had a Twitter account and knew how to use it, would certainly be adding on.
Well, first of all, you don't have one, then you don't know how to use it. And you know what? My life is fine without it.
It certainly is because he just asked me to read him or show him what's going on. Which is fine. That's fine. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Don't mind going back over to Busch Stadium once again because Dan and Rick moments ago were talking about other things that went well for the Redbirds tonight. Here's a view from the booth, guys.
A lot of positives to take from Game 3 against the Rockies here tonight. And Ricky, let's take a look at the Cardinals center fielder. At times, he gets overlooked with the big bats in this lineup, but really came through.
And we tend to talk about pitching, we tend to talk about hitting, but let's talk about some defense. And this is what John Jay has done for the Cardinals to solidify them defensively. This ball was hit right on the nose, Plato on the mound. It's a one-run situation at the time, and he goes straight away from home plate and runs towards the track, bangs into the wall, and throws a souvenir up into the fourth row out there in the bleachers. But John Jay has just been so solid defensively. We like what he does with the bat as well, but not often enough do we credit all of the guys for what they're doing with the glove.
Bullpen, Clado tonight. Zipchinski, Mott, sensational.
So many good things out of that Cardinal bullpen. I like the fact that they were all throwing strikes. They also had pitches to get guys and put them away with. The strikeouts out of the bullpen, to me, were a very good sign, especially from Zipchinski.
All right, guys, happy 4th of July as we send it back to you.
Same to you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. We will continue here on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. We'll talk about Adam Wainwright. Terrific tonight. We'll break that down next.
Hello, my name is Chief Master Sergeant Cottrell from Louisiana, Missouri. I just want to take this opportunity to wish my friends and family happy 4th of July from Bagram, Afghanistan. Go Cardinals.